Good morning, everybody. It's Ann Quinn, and today we're going to do a little bibliotherapy. There is a lot going on in the world right now with the pandemic and the political situation, and then you toss in some natural disasters. It's a lot for us to handle right now, and especially for children. And we wonder and worry how they're coping with the news. So the library has an outstanding collection of books that can help you communicate with your children and talk about what's happening in the news and how to tell them just enough, but not too much, and how to allay their fears. And a book that we just got upstairs in the adult department is When the World Feels Like a Scary Place: Essential Conversations for Anxious Parents and Worried Kids. And it's by Dr. Abigail Gurwitz. And I've thumbed through this book, and it has got wonderful conversations, actually, that you can formulate and try to talk to your kids about what they're talking about or thinking about or worrying about. They actually even discuss the pandemic, and at the very back of the book, questions that children might have or concerns or worries about loved ones that they know that have COVID or may have died from COVID. So this is a brand new book to the library. We just got it December 16th, and I highly recommend this. If you're worried about having those important conversations with your kids. But we've got so many books to address issues of anxiety, anger, death. How do you talk to children about death? And we have a wonderful series called Thoughts and Feelings When People Die. And in fact, we have a whole section of about 25 books about just dealing with death and loss. And I really recommend it, and I know it's parents have used it a lot. It even discusses animals and their death. The Old Coyote is a classic by Nancy Wood. I defy you to read that and not be bawling at the end of it. And Ida Always by Karen and Charles Santoso. This is a beautiful book that deals with the loss of these polar bear, and one part of the couple passes away. And it just deals with depth of feeling and grief and what to do with that grief, and that how eventually the sun will come out and you'll be able to cope a little bit better. So if you're worried about things that are going on in your life and your children's life and you'd like a little advice, we've got this outstanding collection that we would love to share with you. A lot of times, what do you do with that terrible temper tantrum? Molly Bang has written a lot of great books, and this is when Sophie gets angry, really, really angry, or when Sophie's feelings are really, really hurt. And so these picture book formats are just perfect for putting your child, your grandchild, your favorite child in your life, put them next to you on your lap, and it's a great way to explore those feelings and those emotions and see how this little girl deals with it. What are some good strategies? What are some not so good strategies? And I've had a lot of parents tell me that they love Molly Bang's books and that it's really helped them with their children's temper tantrums or just dealing with explosive anger. Another wonderful resource is After the Crisis, helping or using storybooks to help children cope. And that's like exactly what this is using a storybook, because that can help you initiate the conversation. And this covers so many tragedies: earthquakes, epidemics, fires and explosions, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanic eruptions, things that are more like natural disasters. But there's tons of references to picture books that can help explain this terrible tragedy that's happened. And again, giving you coping mechanisms to get through it. Another series that we have, I love this one. I love bibliotherapy because I always refer to a book to help me with my problems. This series is called What to Do When. And a lot of the books are checked out, but these are the three that we have in stock right now. What to Do When Bad Habits Take Hold. A Kid's Guide to Overcoming Nail Biting, and much more. How do you talk to your child in a positive way that doesn't put them down and help them to get over some bad habits? And it's got action plans and where you need to go, and it gives advice for the kids and advice for the parents. I love this series. What to do when you dread your bed. Some kids go through a phase where they are afraid to go to bed at night. They're worried about nightmares. They're worried about the dragon underneath the bed, and they have a difficult time going to sleep. So I like this series too. Great advice on how to deal with that. And then sometimes we have kids that grumble too much. And so, what do you do with the grumbler in your life to help them overcome negativity and to see the more positive things going on? So, again and again and again, I always go to a book to give me advice, to inspire me, to give me just out and out instructions and directions on how to cope. Other two books is like when you turn on the news, there's always bad stuff. I like this book, Bad Stuff in the News, A Guide to Handling the Headlines. This is by Rabbi Mark Gelman and Monsignor Thomas Hartman. So it's people in the religious communities, two men who represent two different faiths, and they have great advice. This is an older book, but I love it. And I have found this very informative and comforting. Another book is On the News, our first book about tragedy. Sometimes we just don't know what our children are absorbing. We've got the news on and they're walking by, or maybe they're playing in front of the set with us and they're playing with their toys, but they're listening and they're hearing too. They're overhearing our conversations, and they hear us talk to our spouses and friends about what's happening in the world, and they can hear this negativity, or maybe they're even picking up our own fear or our own anxiety. And so these books take a sensitive look at the difficult subjects of tragedy and disaster. So I hope that you will find inspiration and that you will find a way to comfortably communicate with your child about the bad things that are happening in this world. And I think probably the best part of it is just spending that one-on-one time with your child, of knowing that you're 100% focused on them. They feel safe sitting next to you as you calmly discuss feelings and emotions and what's going on in the world. And all of these books that I've talked about will give you some very good strategies. So if you have a particular problem or just want some general books on anxiety and the news and what's happening, give us a call at the library or email us, and we would be happy to put together a number of books and so send it home with you with our curbside service, and maybe you can find a little relief during these very troubling times. Thank you so much.